the Star Wars world has been interesting these past couple of years. I mean, a lot of Star Wars is just now exclusively on Disney Plus. You got Mandalorian, Obi-Wan, Andor, which personally, Mandalorian season 1, season 2, and Andor are the only things on Star Wars Disney Plus that I would say are pretty good. But of course, their flagship show that launched was The Mandalorian, and The Mandalorian has been going on still to this day. And there's been many rumors going on these past couple months that Mandalorian season 4 is going to be a movie. That was going around for a number of months, like last year. And now we have official word from StarWars.com themselves that yes, indeed, The Mandalorian is coming to the big screen in the form of Mandalorian and Grogu. And they want to shoot this movie this year. This is what StarWars.com had to say. The Mandalorian and Grogu are embarking on a new adventure to movie theaters. Directed by Jon Favreau, I like that, and produced by Jon Favreau, Kathleen Kennedy, and Dave Filoni, The Mandalorian and Grogu will go into production in 2024. I have loved telling stories set in the rich world that George Lucas created, said Favreau. The prospect of bringing The Mandalorian and his apprentice Grogu to the big screen is extremely exciting. Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have ushered into Star Wars two new and beloved characters, and this new story is perfect fit for the big screen, added Kathleen Kennedy, president of Lucasfilm. And that comes to us straight from StarWars.com. Now, they don't really go on to say anything more about when exactly this movie will be out next, or if it's going to be out next year or 2026. They don't talk about if this is replacing Mandalorian Season 4. I imagine it wouldn't be. But anyways, it has been since 2019 that we have gotten a Star Wars film in the theaters. And for me personally, that's where I think Star Wars belongs. That's where I want to see Star Wars return. So with this, Love and Mandalorian Season 1 and 2, now this being Star Wars movie that's going back into theaters, I don't mean to be the rainer on the parade. This doesn't get me that excited. And I will admit, it's not just Mandalorian and Grogu's problem. I mean, it does definitely have to do with the fact that I did feel Mandalorian Season 3 was a underwhelming season. I didn't like it nearly as much as Season 1 and Season 2. I was not nearly as interested in it as the previous two seasons. So coming off of Season 3 of Mandalorian and now them going to the big screen, I'm yay. I mean, I'm fine with watching them on Disney Plus. And it's also interesting that they're choosing this to go to theaters because, especially after Season 3, when their numbers declined and the interest in The Mandalorian kind of dwindled this year, now you're going to put it into movie theaters. I'm going to be very interested to see how this movie does on the big screen with the casual audience and how much money it's going to make. I can't imagine it's going to be $1 billion film. They got to make this for a modest budget, I would imagine. But I'm just not that excited about Star Wars announcements at this moment in time because we've gotten so many. We've gotten talk about this Rey film, this James Mangold film, and so many films that never came to fruition. Like we had the Patty Jenkins Rogue Squadron, which was supposed to be out in theaters like last month, and that movie got canceled. And now this, of all the projects, I do believe this one's going to happen. You got Jon Favreau, you got Dave Filoni behind it, which are already big parts of Lucasfilm with Star Wars at the moment. So I do believe that this movie is going to happen. But I'm just so burnt by Star Wars. I mean, even when it was in theaters in 2019, The Rise of Skywalker did not like. I really did not like that. Aside from Mandalorian Season 1 and 2 and Andor, nothing on Disney Plus has really been that great for Star Wars. Obi-Wan was incredibly underwhelming and executed poorly. Had some great moments, but wasn't very good. I hated the Book of Boba Fett. Ahsoka, it was fine, but it wasn't always inviting for a newcomer like me to this world. So I just don't know if a Disney Plus show transferring over to the big screen is what's going to get me excited. Now, I will admit, I like the team behind it. Jon Favreau, yes, he's a great director. It's funny, he keeps coming up a lot in this conversation as the person who started the MCU, which is totally true. Like, he is the one who directed Iron Man. But it's funny to see that conversation change because it's always been Kevin Feige started the MCU. But I guess now that the MCU is in where it's at, people are jumping from Kevin Feige to Jon Favreau, who kicked off the MCU and giving him all the praise. But he did kick off the MCU. He kicked it off brilliantly with Iron Man. So I do think it's going to go well with Mandalorian, him coming in here. He's the one who launched Mandalorian. It was his idea in the first place. They definitely got to do a bigger story, though. I would love for them to keep the Western vibe, the Western atmosphere that we get in The Mandalorian. But you can't overuse the volume for the big screen. It looks fine on the television, but even on the television, you can sometimes spot it out. I hope that's not going to happen on the big screen. But a big question that some people have about this is they're shooting it this year. How is that even possible? How are they going to get well, it's pretty easy to explain. I mean, it's coming off of the show. They have the Mandalorian costume made. They have the Grogu doll. They have pretty much everything ready to go for this world. They just got to up it for a big feature budget. Now, another thing about this that kind of has me a little bit worried is it kind of still feels like Lucasfilm doesn't have a plan with Star Wars. And why I'm saying that is we all know the infamous stories with the sequel trilogy. They just kind of let directors do whatever they wanted. They didn't matter how it connected to the other films. And that trilogy, in my opinion, came out pretty sloppy. So now you've got them saying, oh, the Rey film is where we're going next, and that's going to be the first one out the gate. But, oh, wait, we said that 2 weeks ago, but now this Mandalorian movie is going to be first out the gate. And, I mean, it's fine if plans change, I guess, in that way. But because Lucasfilm has been so sloppy, have changed the plan so many times, have proven that they don't always have a plan, it makes me worried that they might just be seeing the ratings in Season 3 dwindle and go, well, at least we can make some money if we move it over to movie theaters. Now, I hope that they aren't making that decision based on that. I do hope this is a creative endeavor. I hope that they looked at the script that Jon Favreau has, because he has said that he's written Season 4 already. So maybe this is the Season 4 script that he wrote. Hopefully they look at it and go, you know what? This actually works better as a story for the big screen. We're going to up the budget and we're going to put this into movie theaters. I hope that that was their motivation behind this, but I don't know. It's Hollywood, man. You can get cynical. But all that to say, Mandalorian on the big screen, it doesn't get me excited for Star Wars again because it's just been so burnt out on it. But at least it's Mandalorian and Grogu, and I like those characters, so yeah, I'll be there day one. Well, thank you very much for checking out this clip from our live show that we do every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time called Zach Milne Talks Live. If you like talking movies, if you like talking movie news, why don't you consider hitting that subscribe button before you leave? We do that on this channel all the time. But if you still need some time before you fully commit, you can check out the full video this clip is from right here, and you can check out another video over here. The subscribe button's right here.